sometimes we tend to be in gloom and doom. We're just going to stay in the doom. So we, at the end of most shows, tell you how many days are left to the midterms. Now, Andrew might be feeling like, woohoo, midterms. I think me and Tiff really might feel a way about telling y'all how many days are left to the midterms, because I don't really know these things gonna damn happen. So, Tiff, I think that might be where you're resting. Yes. Even if they are going to happen, are they going to cheat like they did? I still feel like they did in the 2024 election. I don't have data. I got a gut feeling. But I'm going to tell you about the Black woman and the Holy Ghost. We be spot on. So I'm curious to know if you guys think we should still be telling people how many days are left.
I'm not saying
until the midterms.
I think it's pointless. I get so frustrated when people sorry, Andrew already disagreeing with me, but I'm just gonna tell you, Andrew, I think it is pointless. When people start talking to me, like we just gotta hold on for one more year, then the midterms. I'm like, hold on to what? What do we think the midterms are going to change? And after going out and telling everybody, gotta vote, gotta vote, gotta vote, gotta vote. And the country, I know Angela believes the election is stolen. I can only go on what is before us. And that is that millions of people cast ballots for this.
Boy. So we got to talk about the Democrats and the liberals going full blue and on as they push a conspiracy theory that the 2024 election was stolen. Yes. Blue and on is going full stop the steal. Okay. Basically claiming that Kamala had the election stolen from her by Trump, that Republicans stole the election. Now, we've already talked about Democrats claiming that the midterms are stolen, right? Essentially waving the white flag ahead of time because they know that it's going to be pretty tough to beat Republicans this time around. The math is not on their side in the Senate and also in the House as well, too. Okay, it's going to be tough. Also, you have redistricting coming up. Republican states really trying to put the final nails in the coffin of the Democrat Party that is dying, right? And again, that's why you have the blue and on conspiracy theorists now pushing these false claims about the 2024 election being stolen, the midterms being stolen, and I want to talk about it because this is now gone mainstream.
But I will say, Angela, the Latasha has been the most compelling to me in giving me actual facts that suggest the election is stolen. And I'm hesitant to share what she said. So y'all give me a little bit of grace because I could be saying it incorrectly because I don't know the exact jurisdictions. But she was saying there were places where people would vote down ballot, completely Democrat, and at the top Republican, and it happened overwhelmingly. And we should have her come on to so she can say it directly. But when she said that, I'm like, now that is information to me that's factual, it's logical, and it gives you a head scratch. Where yes, that does require some investigation. But even if they did, okay, it's here now. Like, what they're not going to say, okay, takes these backsies, we stole it. Like, they have already instituted this authoritarian regime. And I don't know any post-industrialized country that has come this far into authoritarianism and turned around. So why we think all of a sudden we're going to have free and fair elections in this country for midterms, which we've never really had, as Black folks know all too well, and as women know all too well, we've never really had that. But we think somehow in 480 days, that we're going to have a better chance at democracy. I just don't think so. But fine, Andrew, you've been shaking your head. So go ahead and tell me how I'm wrong.
I think so long as elections are still determining who is going to be running the country, serving as your mayor, on your school board, in your members of Congress, you need to participate. We need to show up and we have to participate in the process that exists that allows for people to do exactly what they're doing right now to us, against us. And some would even say against our will. It certainly was against mine.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? Democrats, the liberals, have gone full blue and on, and they're basically claiming that the 2024 election was stolen because there were ballots that they felt like were very strange, right? Unlikely to be real, okay? Which sounds very similar to some of the theories that we heard after the 2020 election, right? Isn't it amazing how liberals come full circle, right? Calling people who question the outcome of the 2020 election insurrectionists. These liberals are now participating in the same quote unquote conspiracy theories that they claim were so dangerous after the 2020 election. Now, Are any of these individuals going to get banned from any of these social media platforms? No, right? They're not going to, okay? Only if you are a right-winger, a conservative, does it become a problem, right? But when liberals traffic in this dangerous rhetoric, nobody seems to care, right? It's one of those things where they're like, oh, okay, right? It's their free speech rights, right? It's their free speech right to question the outcome of the 2024 election. Who knows? Maybe, just maybe, there was some funny business going on, okay? Kamala is unbelievable that she lost to Trump, right? There's just no way she can lose to a, 30-something time convicted felon. You know the talking points from these people. So this has become so mainstream that even NBC News, the mainstream liberal media, is covering the blue and on conspiracy theorists on social media, claiming that the 2024 election was stolen from Kamala. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
The corner of the internet where the 2024 election is not over.
The November 2024 contest raises a lot of serious questions.
And even though Democratic leadership doesn't want any part of it,
we accept the choice the country made.
Some voters aren't giving up.
The first domino is about to fall.
Right, so we're going to push our feelings aside and understand this is statistically unlikely.
This ain't no conspiracy theory.
If the rhetoric from those voters sounds familiar,
frankly, we did win this election.
It sounds a lot like President Trump after he lost in 2020.
To do it, they cheated and they rigged our presidential election.
Just this time from some on the left. And the feeling may be more than just the vibes from an online fringe, even as Kamala Harris herself quickly stamped out any conspiracies after her loss.
When we lose an election, we accept the results.
A recent poll shows 41% of people who voted for Harris say the president did not legitimately win the 2024 election. The poll didn't ask why they thought it wasn't legitimate.
Wow. You mean to tell me that when Democrats lose, they don't think that the election is legit? Oh, wow. Color me shocked, right? Pikachu face. Yeah, it happens after every election. And again, that's why it was so crazy after the 2020 election that the same people who claimed that the 2016 election was stolen from Hillary were boo-hoo-wine and crying violence. Oh, it is violent to make claims about the election, right? To not agree with the outcome of the election, right? When Democrats have been doing this since Bush, right? I mean, they've been doing it for that long. Every election they lose, they basically say it wasn't fair or that it was stolen. So again, I'm not surprised that 41% of the people that voted for Kamala Harris said that Trump didn't win the election. At the end of the day, I mean, that is typically how people feel when they lose, right? So again, my thing is the hypocrisy, right? My thing is that why isn't the Democrats coming out and condemning these conspiracy theories, right? Why aren't they coming out and saying, no, Trump won fair and square and you can't question the outcome of elections, right? Why is this election denialism being allowed to be on social media, right? Because Trump supporters had to face censorship. Some people lost their livelihoods over question the outcome of the 2020 election. But now Democrats, after they lose, they're able to question the outcome. Again, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the bias against conservatives on social media. That leftist claim, is non-existent. Well, again, how do you explain this? How do you explain after the 2020 election, you weren't allowed to make these claims, right, on the internet, right, without being banned. But now, after Democrats lose, all of a sudden, hey, I guess it's okay to question the outcome of the election. This is what I'm talking about.
The House's top Democrat this week responding to our questions about this emerging election denial.
Not a single Democrat, as far as I can tell, challenged the certification because we're not election deniers. And obviously, we've seen very different behavior from the other side of the aisle.
But your base, your people are claiming that the election stolen. Why don't you come out and say Trump won fair and square, right? That these types of conspiracy theories are not helpful and we should acknowledge that the president won. Why don't you say the same thing that you said when Biden took office, right? Why don't you say the same thing that you said then? Again, it's just the hypocrisy here is what really gets me.
Those voters, though, latching on to a little-known lawsuit out of New York, questioning the election results there, and using it to further unfounded theories the results of the election could change. The plaintiffs in the suit, including Lulu Fry's dad and her team at Smart Elections, which calls itself a nonpartisan election reform group, say they want a full recount in Rockland County, an hour north of New York City, citing alleged irregularities with some districts that logged hundreds of votes for Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, but zero for then Vice President Kamala Harris.
The narrative in 2020 is that in 2020, the Stop the Steal people said this absolutely happened. The election was absolutely rigged. We're not saying that. We're saying that the results look unusual, irregular, and we would like some hand counts to look into it.
Experts
say, I mean, that's what people were asking for in 2020. But asking for hand count meant that, oh, well, you must be a threat to democracy, right? You're an election denier. So again, it's so funny how this is the same trick over and over and over again. When Democrats do it, when liberals do it, oh, well, it's D for different, right? It's different, right? It's D for different. So, it's just funny. It's the same old trick over and over and over again, okay? If you're demanding hand counts, basically what you're saying is that you have a problem with the official count, and you're saying that the official count is not correct. It was not done correctly, and you want to recount, okay, in order to make sure that the election results are legitimate, which is basically what most people were asking for in 2020 as well, too. But again, those people were called election deniers.
Say the results have common explanations. One political science professor at MIT calls the case a nothing burger, saying the ticket splitting there was not unique, while also pointing out how those on social media can, quote, glom onto fringe theories. In a statement to NBC News, the Rockland County Board of Elections calls the lawsuit unfounded, says the election included required post-election audits, and that certain districts have historically demonstrated a tendency for voters to choose individual candidates over party lines. The board believes this case will be dismissed. Fry's dad and other election integrity advocates and hackers have been sounding the alarm over vulnerabilities with voting machines for years. But the lawsuit doesn't provide any evidence of hacking in Rockland County, and there's no evidence of hacking ever changing votes in an election anywhere in the country. But that isn't stopping the chatter online.
This could be the domino that falls and opens up the whole thing to the rest of the country.
And let's remember, none of the 62 suits Donald Trump filed in 2020 changed the outcome of any race, with the courts throwing most out immediately. But just because Mr. Trump failed in the courts doesn't mean he failed to convince some supporters, with 147 Republicans in Congress voting that day to not certify the election. The misguided distrust lingering as part of Trump's political movement. That same poll we showed earlier reveals 70% of Trump voters still believe Biden didn't legitimately win in 2020. Now, some Democratic voters may be going down a similar road, even if the party's leaders are not.
And we often talk and hear about this divide within the Democratic Party. Which direction should they go in? Is it more to the left? Is it more to the center as they try and rebuild after those 2024 losses? But this apparent election denialism coming from a significant chunk of the Democratic Party, despite their elected leaders saying the opposite, is yet another potential fracture point that we're watching very closely within the party heading in to the 2026 midterms and beyond. Back to you.
Yeah, so what the liberal media should do in the Democrat primaries is to ask every Democrat, do you believe that the 2024 election was fair and square? Do you believe that Trump won the 2024 election? Right? That is what they should be asking them, considering how a significant portion of their base believes that the election was stolen, right? You remember that was the question they were asking all of the GOP candidates during the GOP primaries? They should be asking Democrats that question as well, too. But, ultimately, it's still free speech, right? I mean, if liberals want to believe that, if Democrat voters want to believe that, hey, it is what it is, right? Like, my thing is the hypocrisy, right? Hypocrisy is my thing, okay? You spent the last 4 years lecturing half of the country on how this is not okay. You can't believe that an election didn't have the right outcome or an election was stolen. You can't believe that. Now, for these same people, they were lecturing half the country to now say that when their person loses, right? It's the hypocrisy. That is the issue here. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.